Hello. Hi,
Hey,
Anna.
I'm so happy to be here.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to do this live today and also to see because it's curious because we know each other since virtually since 1 year almost. I was checking earlier and I saw that our very first message here on LinkedIn was the 12th of April of 2022.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then it was, I see what, wow, 2 years have passed, and and now we met virtually, actually yesterday for first
Yesterday.
time, and we are doing this live. So I'm super excited, and I want to thank you, Anna, for your commitment to doing this, and also I know that you have a situation on your circle, in your inner circle. You had a tight deadline, and nonetheless, here you are, 100% present, to do this live. So thank you, first of all. It's a pleasure. And
Yeah.
also, I see that we have already 42 people
Oh,
connect.
wow.
Yeah. So, which by the way, I'm going to take out all the chat and everything. So we will focus on the conversation. First of all, hi to everyone.
So fun.
Uh, and then in the middle, we are going to check the chat. So please, if you have any question for Hannah, for me, or something, or whatever feedback, drop in the chat. We'll check it later, and we will dance a little bit with what you ask. So it's even more fun if you join and participate in the conversation. And so, Anna, you're one of the person on this community that I admire the most. And actually, I would like to read a line from your bio because you said, I hope to inspire you to develop resilience and mental strength, to take action toward your goals, and to leverage the power of visual communication." And I can say that all the three are true, at least for me. And I had countless inspiration from what you do, from the visual, from the interaction. So this is an absolute pleasure. But before I go on too much, I would love you to tell yourself a little bit about you for and what you want the people who are connected here to know about you before we go into the conversation.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that such a kind intro. It is true, there's so much going on in my life right now, but it's a priority to be here, and it's just really special to be able to be here today. And the feelings are completely mutual. I have so much admiration for you and what you're doing, and I can't believe our first proper connection is now on this live, which is it's just so fun.
Yeah,
It just we're here just, showing up. This is just a normal conversation between us. We didn't want to, it's not contrived, it's candid.
yeah,
And I think that, for part of what I do and what my message that I want to share, it's just showing up as a human, just showing up and just being yourself.
Mhm.
Because when we are ourselves, you know, good things happen basically. And that's what's come for me. I did fine art as a degree. So I've always been this creative, always working on some kind of creative project. And then pandemic hit, and I found myself doing a bit of graphic design, some painting commissions as well, like oil paintings, like big, big ones. Um, and yeah, and then that just before that design job, I took a course and it was about data visualization, and that was mid 2021. But I then paused everything and, said yes to this design job. And then, it was a small job. And after a while, I was ready to move on. And I started a project for my portfolio, but also for me to help me remember what I read, because I'm always doodling in the margins of my nonfiction books. And yeah, that's how it all started. It was just a project that made sense in so many aspects for me personally and professionally. And then, fast forward, what was it, about 6 months, I then was getting messages from people requesting to work with me. And so within 6 months, I then left my job to pursue this full time. And we are 2 years in well, over a year self-employed, but 2 years in fully to the journey. I properly kick-started Quota Visually at the very, very end of 2021. It was my annual leave and I had a couple of days left, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to invest back into this, and it paid off.
So it's a coincidence. We met at the very beginning of your, of let's say, bet on this, on yourself, and it's super interesting. Because what I hear is that you started this as something that has meaning to yourself, to remember why you read, and what were the feeling in the moment, and now how can you connect with this feeling still after 2 years? Because
Yeah.
it's clear that you still live this. And what's the secret?
It's the feeling. I,
Yeah.
I can remember I can remember being in the kitchen with my mum, and I can remember telling her, I've got this project, it makes sense, on all these different levels. And and I'm so glad that I pursued it, because I could have been overthinking things. But on that day I just went ahead and started. I put a post out, and it felt amazing because it didn't take long to gain some traction, because there was all of you amazing people in the community, Yanis, and among others. I followed all of the people he was following. Um, I was a bit tight with my finances at the time. I didn't realize that what kind of investing in yourself could do and could bring. So I was determined to learn this on my own. um, and it still feels amazing to have something on your sketchbook, and then to put it out, and then get messages from people saying that it's impacted them and helped them, that these thoughts that we have, that they do matter, and there is value in what we're saying, and you just have to believe it, and it's just remarkable what happens.
Yeah, and it also looks like what you put out when you say, I just share it, then you get more of that. And if someone finds it interesting, maybe they will connect, maybe they will say something, or they share their own view. And this is also what happened, remember, to our first interaction, where you shared one visual, and then I say, oh, I like this, Hannah. I did this one inspired by yours. And then, and sometimes we did the opposite. But actually, I think I did more inspired by you, because I still have so many in the backlog that when I see one of yours, I say, "Oh, I love this. I would want to do some iteration of sometimes." And I'm curious, what's the role for you of communities and in general of this interaction in your creative practice?
Well, that's such a good question, because hearing your process as well, you're very methodical with the way that you approach, whereas mine is completely different. Um, I would say that I didn't really understand the value of a community 2 years ago. I didn't understand what it meant to be in a creative. Well, I did, because I'd done a fine art degree. I was used to working in a studio.
Mm.
So I didn't take it for granted, but there's something so special about being surrounded by other people who are on a similar mission. Um, I didn't grow this following on Instagram on my own.
Mm.
It was connecting with people like Roberto, or we've got PJ or Michael from
Yeah.
Wisdom Made Easy. We've done it together, and so it looks like it's a solo pursuit, and that's what I would have imagined going, from any other time. You start a project, it's all about you, but it's not. It's about
Mm.
the people you're connected with, and going on that journey with them. um and so without community, there isn't quoted visually, and I hope that anybody starting their own visual journey, or whatever it might be, similar creative project, kind of can connect with like-minded people too.
Mm. And this is brilliant, and reminds me of one thing that I read from Yanis that you mentioned, and I want to give full credit to him for this, uh, even if I 100% share the idea. But he shared that when there are, let's say, starting creator, middle creator, huge creator, super big creator with million of followers, and there is always space for more. Because first of all, creating, let's say, it's not a word, but it takes work, and you have to like it. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to do this. You are telling this and relating your story with such an enthusiasm that we can see that you love what you do. And so the first thing is that you have to do it for quite a long time. It's not something that you can do in 2 months. Then, of course, time goes and results will come. But also at the same time, when you start, there are always people who are 1 year, let's say 6 months ahead of you in the learning curve, in whatever, or 2 years. And when these people are going, maybe something will happen, maybe they will grow more, they will change audience, things happen, they change priority, and Jenny said they outgrow their role and they lose what their relatability and because you cannot connect and share and have the same level of interaction when you have 10,000 connection than when you have 100,000 or 1 million. It's not possible. It's not humanly possible. So there is always this space and this movement. And your encouragement is just to start, to find your group, to share, to have fun. And from there, you grow and learn together, which is beautiful. And it's not like doing it all on your own. Of course, you have to do your work. It's not like just, okay, for magically it will happen. But the interaction with these people, the feedback, and also the support that we can give each other, it's crucial. It's also part of the fun because you're not standing in front of the screen for whatever 4 hours in the weekend if you do as I do in the weekends, or if you do it or as a full time, it will be very let's perhaps boring all alone. So the human touch is super important. And remember one thing that you said about the live and in-person events, and you connected this to the community. Can you talk a little bit about this? I'm super curious about your experience.
Yeah, with in-person events. Yeah, definitely. So obviously I had left my job and I've been doing this on my own, and I felt very much like this solo person on the internet posting. Sometimes you feel alone. You have your friends around you, but then they've got their own jobs or they've got their own commitments, and
Mhm.
you can't just rely on your creator friends. Like you have to hold your own. And so for me, I just thought, okay, what can I do? And I went to some events. I went to a few in London, and it's just completely changed my outlook. I felt very isolated. And you go through that period, everyone says, when you start your business or whatever new project, before you have those people in person. And then through the process of being on, there was a Christmas party, going to those events and feeling like I belonged in that room, which is just, immensely powerful. I felt like I belonged. And I also felt confident in that space. And then when I had all these different people around me who were also small business owners, it kind of gave me permission just to keep pushing, and it made me feel more like myself. So I no longer feel isolated because I'm able to go to these in-person events in London, and it fuels you so much to the point of you only need to go to a couple, I find, and you're just lit up with this, this energy of being in a high density environment where there's lots of entrepreneurs, and you just push each other forward even more. But it just can't happen if you're all behind a screen at home. You've got to be in front of other faces.
Yeah, it's like uh, overcoming the, let's say, discomfort of leaving your home and even and you just mentioned that a full trip to London is 1 day for you. So
Yeah.
it's a huge investment of your time that you have to be very mindful, very intentional. I'm going there. I'm going to take out the most, and I'm going to show up and not just, okay, I did it. So when you do it. If not, you don't. So it's like you have to take out the most. And I remember when you shared it was beautiful, the event with Sahil Bloom. And
Yeah.
I remember he said in the event, I'm going to stay and meet each and every one of the people that stay there. How was that? Hannah, I'm very curious also because you were
Oh,
there.
yeah, I was there. I was so lucky. I have so much respect for Sahil and Ali. It was cold. The venue had kicked us out, and then we stayed for 3 hours outside. Through, I was shivering. It was cold, but we would just, take a moment to chat to both of them, and yeah, just so much respect. It when you surround yourself with, people that are doing crazy, crazy stuff, you become so much more inspired, and you don't have to spend hours with them. Even just being in close proximity to somebody like Sahil Bloom, it can really put everything else in perspective. So all the other content that he puts out, I now have this new level of understanding and appreciation. Sometimes there's stuff that goes out there that's really beneficial for us to watch, read, or listen to, but we just can't access it. And, maybe meeting that person in real life is that thing that gives you the key to feel like you can be open enough to receive the information. It's interesting what goes on, but yeah, just so excited basically with what other events could happen in future too.
Sounds like it's a gear up that allows you to put in action because you can stay and consume and listen to podcasts and do things and read. But then if you don't go out and practice what you read or what you learn, it's useless because it stays here. So you go out, you try, and you experiment. And this is also something that I love about what you do because I see that you are constantly experimenting, doing things, doing a lot of things. And I would like to ask you, Hannah, what's the experiment that now or the project that excites you the most?
The experiment, gosh.
Yeah, or the project, whatever.
Okay, that's an easy one. It's my course. That's an experiment. I put my neck on the line there. I spent nearly 3 months of my life working on something. I just, I had a situation where one of my clients needed to stop working with me. They were busy. And it was like a month before I launched, and I realized that it amped up the pressure. It was a gift because for me, I realized like, okay, I need to make this work and I need to put that pressure on myself to get it out. So it's out now. And the whole process of making the course itself, that experiment, right? I when I started, I didn't think I could do it. Like I honestly didn't think I could do it. And then I just kept doing it. Like I just kept doing what I could each day. And you just convince yourself that you can do it because I believe in my own ability to produce something that's outstanding because I know that I know how picky I am with detail. I know that I'm not going to let something out there if I'm not happy with it. So you just trust it, you just keep working on it. And that's what happened with me with the experiment of making this course. And then I experimented with sharing the journey. So I did some more posts on LinkedIn. And you can't really go wrong because, you're just being open and honest, and then everybody is there on the journey with you. You give people a chance to get to know you. And so I think that's my biggest experiment.
And what's the most surprising thing that you learned during this? Because it looks like also a journey from okay, I have to put this out. I have to believe in myself, and then at the same time you share the journey and the struggles. So what has surprised you of these 3 months?
I think I've put myself on like my own experience. Like, when you have like life-changing experiences, I just feel like I've given it to myself, which sounds really weird. Like I've put myself through an intense period. And the biggest lesson for me has been this. I see it when I'm with my boyfriend, but this relentless approach to problem solving. When you're making your own course, you've got to think, how am I going to market this thing? How am I going to? Oh, I need a landing page. Oh, how do I? Oh, I can't code. Oh, I need to do that in Shopify, right? Okay, because that's where my website is.
Yeah.
Um, where do I host it? Oh, how much do I charge? And so all these questions sort of come up, and what I've learned from that whole process is I know that I'll figure it out. So it's that faith that whatever you're going to tackle next, you'll find a way through. And the reason why I say this is because when I'm with involving family members to say, can you just help me with the website or something? Like, can you help me code the buttons? I don't know how to make them the same or something like that. They use Chat GPT. Family members can say, oh, sorry, Hannah, I need to go to bed. And then I've got to say, well, I need a solution. So I'll stay up then, So it's like realizing that this relentless approach is what makes you you. And I've seen that in myself. So I've made myself very proud, like that I've been able to, put it out. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, and I also hear that when you are on your own, you own your own business, you figure it out or you don't do it. So it's not like there are good things and not so good thing, always, of everything, of corporate life, of solopreneurship or independent or business owner. But here, when you're on your own, it's all on you. As you said, you have to wear a lot of hats, and then you have to figure it out. You cannot say, okay, someone will solve it for me. No. You will have to figure it out. At the same time, you learn. You learn a lot through this process. Mm. Super interesting. Super interesting. And also, I'm curious now that we're talking about learning and this, what's the thing that you struggle the most at this moment?
What I struggle with. Okay, this will be interesting to ask you as well about, but I think
Mm,
it's balance. Okay, well, balance is a if you talk about work-life balance, I think that is a controversial topic because lots of
yeah.
people, I don't think that there should be separation, but I think I struggle with logging off, switching off,
Mm,
because when my brain is operating at its best and I've got fantastic ideas and I'm going to bed and I'm writing down in my notebook everything that's amazing, all my ideas are just coming out. But when the ideas are great, the sleep's terrible. So
yeah.
it's like there's seasons for everything. Sometimes you'll come up with loads and loads of ideas, and sometimes you're just leaning into life a bit more. Um, so yeah, it's finding that time to make space to do other things because the weekends, not like when I had my 9 to 5, the weekends aren't normal. I can't just my boyfriend, he lives a bit further away. I can't easily just take out the whole weekend. There's
Yeah.
stuff that I need to do at my computer
Yeah.
because for the love of it, but also the time, you have to be really strict with your time.
Mm.
So yeah, how do you handle that, being strict with your time? Because there's a lot that you're trying to do. Being a creator isn't like, quick and it's not easy. There's always something to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I also hear that uh, when you love something and you like to do it, you could go on and on and on. And then you say, as you say, I have to switch. I want to switch. And I admit this is also a struggle, or at least it was more in the beginning for me. And what I would say is that I don't believe in balance. And I love the idea of work-life integration. So when you are, of course, there are moments that you are 100% doing the job and moments that you are 100% doing life, let's say, or family or whatever. But we cannot draw a red line because I think it will put too much stress. So we will have, for example, if I put a straight line between one thing and the other, I have to finish 100% by the end of this quarter or this moment. And then I put so much pressure. And if something happens, of if something, for example, something when family happened during my workday, of course I will do it. I have two kids. They call me from the kindergarten or whatever, and I will attend them. And at the same time, there is something with work or with other things in the evening or even in the weekends. As long as I decide and I'm intentional about this, no problem. And it's more like thinking of doing the work and achieving the result than not separating 1 hour here and 1 hour there. And it's struggle in the beginning because you have to be very disciplined, as you said, and you could go on and on and on and on. And my personal trick to avoid this constant thinking in the bedtime is to leave at least 1 hour and a half before going to bed. So I don't have
Okay.
anything in my mind. So I leave the mobile sleeping in a closet. I say like this because it's like it charges and then I leave it sleeping. And most of the time, if I want to take photos, for example, which is a very big distraction, I take the mobile to take a photo to my kids, and then I watch an email or whatever, and I'm lost. So I use my wife's mobile. And I don't have anything to look in my wife's mobile. So this is a way to avoid it. And yes, at the same time, it's a struggle. And my personal challenge is FOMO because we
Okay.
have so many interesting things, so many opportunities, and even today more than ever with these connections that you can make, wonderful people you can meet like you on the internet, and wow, you could go on with this all day, and then okay, it's infinite because the more door you open, the more door appears. And I remember a visual from you, which by the way, I did also one inspired, which was the FOMO and the JOMO. You have to close the doors. The problem is not finding the door, is closing doors.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the one. Yeah, I remember the one that you did. It's
Yeah.
so smart. And you then have a joy of missing out because you're content with the choices that you've made. And you're so sure of yourself that you're happy that you're not going to do everything. Yeah.
Yes. And also, when you say no to an opportunity, it's not about, okay, I don't like this opportunity, because there are probably infinite wonderful opportunity. The things that
Mhm.
you're just making a choice. It's not like, oh no, I don't like it. It's not my priority. And when you say this, I always receive also this question when they ask someone something, they say, no, it's not my priority for me. And they say, okay. And I respect this person because
Mm.
it's transparent. It's much better saying upfront, I'm not going to allocate my time to this. This is not the moment. But perhaps in the future, let's keep the door open, or at least not close it with three locks. We
Yeah.
close, at least you can open it again.
Don't burn the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. My approach is I close the door, but I don't put it concrete on it.
Yeah.
Because also our priority changes.
Mhm.
We change. I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago.
100%.
So why should we be always the same person doing the same thing? We change, we put something. I always say, I put the things in my backpack, it's still with me, and then maybe I will do something else or whatever.
And I can see that change, right, in our I can see it in myself when
Mm.
so last night, well, behind the scenes, by the way, I'm so busy that I'm just making it to put posts out. That's what it's like sometimes. I've not scheduled in advance. And last night I was thinking, okay, what can I put out? And I wanted to put something out that I've done before because it's you just do what you can in the moment. And I was reading through my Instagram, all my different posts that I've done, and I look at the stuff and I think, oh, I don't know if I would say that like that now. And so it's like journaling, but in public. And so I look at the way that I've written. I can't even use the same caption that maybe I used a year ago because I look at it and I think I could write that way better. And it's such a like an amazing feeling of just falling in love with writing as well through this whole process because writing is so central to these illustrations. Um, but yeah, so much I could say on that. It's just
Absolutely.
so much of a journey of personal growth. I cannot even believe, how far I've come. Never expected it.
Yeah, and I can also relate to this because when you say that you take back one of the things you've written 1 year or 2 years ago and you say, "Oh, I will do it different," I said the same. But maybe it's not that that was bad. It's
Yeah.
me that I've changed. I have different perspective, different experience, and I would do it differently. So also, this is an encouragement for all the people who are thinking, "Oh, people are going to think about." By the way, no one will remember. If someone remembers something that you shared 1 year ago or even 6 months ago, I think that it's because they liked it. So if they liked it, great. I listen to the song that we put. I put it every time. I love this song. I would never be tired of this. Of course, if it's all the time 24/7, okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
But it's always good to take back the classics and the ideas. For example, Stoic ideas. We have it's
Yeah.
thousands of years old. We had our different interpretation of our experiences, and now we spin it again and again. So it's
Yeah.
also the beauty of iterating, seeing other people ideas and incorporating or comments from people. I always check my older post to repurpose and to share what I liked. And I sometimes see the comment and say, "Oh, I like this comment. I will put inside the next time."
Yeah, no, there's so much that could be done there. I honestly feel like I don't tap into all of that because it's just the time commitment. There's so much I could be inspired by.
Yeah,
And I say this in my course. It's not that we have ever run out of ideas. It's just because if we're constantly learning, then you're just feeding your mind these new things and you connect the dots. It just happens. Um,
exactly.
and one
Yeah.
thing you were talking about, but I just remembered I'd forgotten. You're talking about the fear of missing out. Um, I'll do a post about this, but one thing that has just happened recently with the project that I'm working on, and I'm working on it with some other creators, and that's a privilege. But I had the opportunity to do some negotiations over email, and so it's having the confidence to ask for what you feel like you are worth in terms of from freelance, but also be willing to not get the project. So it's like, oh, I'm okay if I don't get this, but I've put my cards on the table and this is what I'm happy with. And that is a really empowered place to
Yeah.
be. So this is something that's happened recently, and it's just, you just get a high out of it because, who wouldn't?
Yeah, and also what I hear is that you value yourself. You don't. There are. It's not the people or other people that are saying what's your worth is, but you say, I to work with me. This is my fare. You may take it or leave it, but you are setting your own value.
Yeah.
So this is the feeling of, okay, I know my work. At least I sharing this openly, and this is also takes courage, because as you said, you may lose the client, you may lose the opportunity, and at the same time, what I hear is that you cannot satisfy everyone. There will
True.
always be someone that doesn't like what you do, doesn't agree with the price or whatever, and that's fine. Doesn't change who you are. But you
Yeah.
have to be clear first. You have to know who you are, what's your worth, and then go into the negotiation.
Yeah, I mean, I have PJ to thank for that. Shout out to PJ. But it was very special to get the chance to just go in high, and then not only that benefit me, but benefit my friends. So your friends too. But so yeah, it's just like a really empowered place to be, because when you start putting yourself out there, you then move away from the scarcity mindset, and you realize that there's this abundance of possibility. And so one opportunity, if you miss out, it's not going to be the end of the world. In fact, it might be doing you a favor. And in the process of maybe negotiating and losing out in any instances, there's so much to be learned from that. And it's just having that self-respect to not, I mean, just throw everything in just to please somebody else's schedule.
Absolutely. I think we could go on for hours. So why don't we check the chat?
Okay.
It's 4 here. Let me see if we have some comments or question. Where was that?
Yes, I got.
Okay, it's here. So let's refresh the questions and see who's asking something. Okay, Ross Regent.
Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, feel free
Let's
to
go from the
comment.
beginning. Okay, here. Linda. Hi, Linda. Harsh saying hi. And what are the sources of inspiration for your creativity? Harsh Mota is asking. So, well, I think we mentioned something. I might add something to that. The sources of inspiration, actually, that we have infinite sources of inspiration. One
Yeah.
of the key things for me is to have the mindset of looking for something, because there is an anecdote which is, well, at least I have kids. When I was waiting for my kids, I was seeing pregnant women everywhere. Because my mind was so focused on the idea of I'm going to be a father, I'm going to be a father, I'm going to be a father, and then I saw Starley and kids everywhere, and it's the same world, but it's changed from one day to the other. And this is something similar to the inspiration for creativity. When you start thinking that you are creative, and everyone is creative, and everyone can do visuals, everyone can draw, and remember the famous Tim Urban gratification monkey. It's like just a sketch with the paint, and everyone can do it, and it's so brilliant. And the idea is that everyone can do it at first. Second, the inspiration is everywhere. You can see a post, you can, as you said, you can see something from other creator, you can see something in the street. Once you have this mindset, and what I would suggest is to capture and have a system for capturing. So you have so many ideas in your backlog that then when you put yourself to, okay, I'm going to do this, you pick the thing that excites you the most at the moment, and then will be a joy. So it's not like, oh, I have to create this. You have so many things that you pick the most exciting at this moment,
Yeah.
which is not always the same. So when you put in the backlog, is the most exciting. Oh, I want to do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow you take it and you are in a different mood. They say, no, this is not so exciting. I like this more. So again, it's
So,
It's a
Something
process.
that you've picked up on here is that something that I noticed in the process of creating my course is I reflected on my own process. There's not it's not just there's writing the ideas down in the moment and then there's storing them. So
Mm,
my process is different for like when I'm writing something down, I might write it down on just a random piece of paper that I have here in front of me. But when I'm storing it, I've come up to the conclusion that I do not like digital stuff for storing ideas. It needs to be a piece of paper, it needs to be in front of me. But if it's in a notebook, the thing is sometimes you create an idea and then the other ones in the other pages next to it, you're not going to make for like a month's time or something.
yeah.
So I've got a folder. I've got an A5 folder. And so for storing the ideas, every idea has a bit of paper. And that's been my process now of making sure that you always have an idea to create. You can flick through this tangible folder and feel the excitement and then have something in front of you in front of your computer while you create. I think it's very important to the like the tangible aspect.
What I also hear is that there is no one way. Each one
Yeah,
of us has to find his or her own thing that likes it and excites him or her. So it's exactly
yeah,
the same. So I would suggest experiment and see what works for you.
exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
have multiple capturing channels because it's you if you're on a like if you're like on a walk or maybe you're driving and there's an option to do some sort of audio capture,
Yeah.
then that's when you're going to how you're going to do it. It just depends what your lifestyle is. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Not texting on the highway, of course. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we have some more.
oh,
What does
hey,
the
Casey.
journey of, sorry?
Oh, Casey's just saying hi.
Ah,
Um,
okay. See. Question to both of you. I was thinking yesterday about the concept of Ikigai, Lewis, or reason for being what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, what are you good. Do you feel that you've reached this point in your career by pursuing your goal of becoming a visual creator? If not, what are the next steps?
we change as we grow. So it's not like a fixed,
Mm,
I have found the thing that I must do for the rest of my life. And I
mhm,
think that's something that, yeah, friends in the benefit of connecting, we were saying this just yesterday, is that we're different ages. And that's the beauty of connecting with people all over the world through creating visuals, is that you get these different mentors. And this is something that PJ always says to me is that like it's just what you we have different seasons of our life and so you don't have to think about the solution right now for the future you just need think about what works and then it will adapt and evolve with you.
absolutely. And also hearing what you say and seeing the Venn diagram that Lewis posted.
Yeah,
I remember one thing, which is there is a book which I read, which is called The Portfolio Life, which, by the way, a brilliant book, and tells you that exactly something connected to what you say, that we keep getting experience, we change, but at the same time, we accumulate all these things. So we are this kind of human Venn diagram that we add one thing and then another one and then another one. And this combination is unique to us. And maybe this will be our job or whatever, maybe not, but then you keep adding, you keep adding. And as long as you're having fun, as you are learning and you're enjoying it, that's fine. And it's not a fixed destination. What
yeah,
I would also add, perhaps, that there is a concept in my coaching, which is coactive coaching, which is called the life purpose. And of course, there are tons of way to define the purpose. And one idea that I like is the question of what's your gift to the world.
yeah, like that.
So this is not something tangible. It's something more like what's your gift. And to me, for example, the definition would be that I'm the energy that connects with you and multiplies your impact. This is how I define it.
Yeah,
And and then you say, how you do translate it? I don't know, whatever, and any many ways. But doing this live, for example, doing visual, doing participate in community or in the work that I do with my family, whatever. And this, I think, this can be something more stable. And around this, you can pick the things that give you energy and that are aligned with your values. So long answer, but
well, it's complicated, isn't it? um
absolutely.
I think for me, like I've been trying to pick apart that as well. I'd say it's connecting, bringing people together. Um, my illustrations, I didn't realize have this, and this is something that happened just, and then I look back in retrospect, they're all very positive. I have this underlying theme of
Mm,
wanting to uplift and something about being a light and something about shining a light. There's something in that analogy for me that
mm,
I connect with for my purpose. And I think as like for all of this, all I feel is that I just like the fact that I've had the opportunity, or I've created the opportunity for myself to put myself out there. And it doesn't matter if only one person found it helpful. It's just you have that inner peace that you have given what you had, you've contributed to what you had to offer. Um, that you never know what could happen tomorrow, and as you know, the backdrop of what's gone on in my personal life, and it's just like
yeah.
just having that courage just to put yourself out there and not feeling like you need permission from somebody else. Just even if, again, if you're putting yourself out there and you feel like you're too much, you're probably not doing enough. um and that's definitely one of the strong messages I want to share. Just don't overthink it. Just please put yourself out there. If you've got something to offer, people want to hear about it.
So, and you do your best, and you're
Yeah.
just doing your best. So, if it happens that someone likes it, perfect. If not, you did your best. So you're at peace.
And then you can make something else because you put something out there and then you learned from it and you made a friend and then you did something else, and it
Exactly.
just like a positive
Exactly.
positive effect. Yeah.
Amazing. Let's see if you have more question. I started leaving my phone in the study by 1-2 hours before in bed. Good. And welcome to the club.
My phone's not allowed in my bedroom, so I always leave it downstairs. That's like something that I'm religious about too. It's got to be done.
Okay, let's see if we have some more. Thanks for the response of inspiration. I shared a screenshot of your video that I saved in my Twitter. You have been okay. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you so much.
What's something that you have learned recently, Roberto? What's something that has come to
Mm,
mind?
the most interesting things that I learned actually it's been 1.5 years
Yeah.
is the consequence of my coaching training.
Okay.
And this is something that I believe that actually it's not taught in school, not yet, but I think as, for example, public speaking or presentation of, well, as you said, problem solving and having conversation, knowing how to ask questions, how to listen. Wow, these are there's not coaching skills. These are skills that human skills. So we are constantly in person or virtually interacting with people, and what coaching gave me is a different perspective on being curious about this other person that on the other side, not wanting, for example, to solve the problem, maybe just asking what's bothering you or what's happening or what inspires you or what you don't like. And what I saw that I'm always surprised by what comes out. And so this is the most interesting thing that I think it's changed a lot of my mind. And also I see in my work interactions and my family interaction when I go into a meeting or to talk with a person, and first of all think, okay, I will be open to see what can I be surprised about from this person. And then, as we said in the beginning with the creativity, when I think about this, I see this.
Yeah.
I say, wow, it's so easy, but at the same
Uh-huh.
time, we don't do it enough. And of course, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I still go into some meeting in action-oriented mode and like, bow, 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 and then I don't care about the person. I say, oops, I should have done it differently. But then you have this awareness of how did you interact with the person? Is this person being seen? Is she does she feel that you care? But because if someone feels that you care about him or her, it's clear. And you can feel that in the same time when someone comes to you and asks you something or is just going to solution mode, you think, okay, this person just doesn't care.
Yes.
So this is my biggest learning of the last 2 years. And of course, I still have a lot of way to go. You never end. You never end, of course.
Yeah. I think having that open mind is something that I spoke about when going to those in-person events. It's
Yes.
like it's really easy to sign up to an event and on the day just to be like a bit silly about it and just say, "Oh, I'm not sure if I want to go. I'm tired. I've got this going on."
Mhm.
And the message is the same. It's just show up anyways because you don't know what could come. And if you go and you have an open mind and you just go up to strangers, whatever you feel comfortable doing. So, anything can come from that. But if you're closed off, and you're not there listening to, in your case, listening and making sure the person you're coaching feels heard, it's this other layer of context which is really easy to forget about. But it's the self-awareness is really important.
Yeah, and there is one more thing that comes to my mind when you say this, that it's like a question that my coach posed to me when we are in one in the session, which was uh, whatever the context. The question is, how do you want the people to remember you? Do you want this person to remember you as an angry person, as someone who didn't care, or who just did the bare minimum, or whatever, or dismissive? Or do you want to be this person that people remember that, oh, when I saw Hannah, I always had a smile. And even if whatever, imagine whatever is the situation, and I remember that, okay, what's the impact that I want to have on these people or this person? And this helps me a lot. And because you don't do it for them, you do it for yourself. Also, it's very, in a way, it's selfish because I will do it for myself because I want to be this person. I don't want to be the person remembered, but whoever to being a dismissive, or angry, or whatever. I want to be the person remembered as open, curious, and energizing, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, if I want that, I have to do something. And as you said, go to the event, show up, and overcome the initial discomfort. Yeah.
Yes. And you don't need an agenda. Like I thought I needed to have a plan. I thought I needed something that I was going to get out of these events. But you go without an agenda, and when you have the open mind, it's just that is the strategy, and it's not what can I ask from these people that I'm
Mm.
meeting who if you happen to meet some speakers, um, the question might be what do I ask them? But in anything, it's just I would say is how do you want them to feel? So rather than trying to get something from those, how can you open the door for this connection to just you never know what can happen if you've connected with that person in a few weeks, few months, few years time. You might be reaching out to each other, and there might be some exciting project, but you just have to show your face and be there so they know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I hear from you is like, remembers of an idea which I have is to treat every interaction or everything that I share as a less metaphorical lottery ticket. You
Mhm.
never know. And not in the sense of, oh, I want to win something,
Yeah.
but in the sense that you don't know what's going to happen. You just take it, and it's unlimited lottery ticket when you share something that you care about. Of course, it's not just sharing for sharing. You care about these ideas, you share it, and it's again, and you keep sharing, and then maybe sometimes something happens now or in 1 year or in 2 years, and you never know. And
Mhm.
as long as you do it from, I think, a place of authenticity and having fun, because if you do it with idea, as you said, I have this agenda, and if this agenda doesn't work, I don't have the goal, so it's frustrating. You have
Yes.
fun in the process. And then when you have fun in process and you trust the longer term, I think always things happen. And the proof is what you did in just 2 years.
Yeah.
You look back and then, wow, I did so many things. Just 2 years. It's
Yes,
nothing.
and I thought that when I was in my job and with these wonderful it was a small company working with two founders. I thought that that was it. Like I thought that had needed to settle for less. Um and I knew that I'm capable. I knew in my own self that I that I have something to give, but I just didn't feel like I was able to give it in the specific context I had. Like I just didn't feel like I was being seen. And now I feel like I'm being seen, and that just motivates you to keep going, because you can be doing the same work in one room and get no and make no difference and get no recognition. Not that recognition is the main point, but you can be doing the same amount of work in a different room and get all these other benefits, connections, and sense of fulfillment. It's just got to be smart with how you allocate your time, so that the consequences are you're happy with them. You're content with how you're spending that time. Um, the years just seem to go by so quick. The 2 years feels like nothing, right?
And you mentioned one thing, which is feeling seen. What is for
Mm.
you feeling seen? What's
Being
mean?
able to be yourself, like I am being now, and being accepted. That for me is being seen. Um, Also to be able to do something. Like I love to work. Like this is something that I've always been quite studious. I just throw myself into my projects, and being seen for me is also the project is making a difference to somebody. It only needs to be one person, and you deem that to be beneficial. And so otherwise, if you're working on something, and this is the problem I find with some freelance projects, is if I feel like I'm making illustrations for a client and I don't think that, and they might not post the illustrations, I don't really see the impact. But making the course, I've already seen some people in my course go ahead and create their own illustrations, and that is just like, wow, the feeling of, the effort I put in is just giving me so much more of a reward than working with one person and not an unknown consequence or outcome.
So you see the impact of what you do and have it tangible.
Tangible. Not only that, I saw myself making the course, which sounds weird. I'm looking at myself from looking back. I was happy. There were people messaging me saying, you've changed, Hannah. Like making the course for me brought so much energy to me, and I didn't expect it. So I think with the whole the ikigai situation is leaning into when you feel that, you feel like you're getting energy from something. That's when you need to keep going, keep leaning in, because it's so powerful.
Mm. And this brings me a question, which perhaps there are some people connected
Yeah.
and they're wondering about, okay, shall I start sharing? Shall I not? What's the advice or suggestion that you would tell them about this and how to approach this?
Be interested to hear your take on this too. I think in terms of the social medias, like part piece, I would say my advice would be focusing on one platform in one place,
Mm.
and focus on relationships. Don't focus on like likes or shares, because there are people behind the screen, and you foster those relationships, and then that's you bring you build your audience together. It isn't something that you need to worry about doing on your own. So if you want to get yourself out there, do, but then also go in the DMs and give without. I think it's easy to come in with an ask for somebody. I get so many messages on Instagram from people saying, can you look at my post, can you follow me, can you support me?
Mm.
You're coming in with an ask. You've got to give first, because this I've only got a finite amount of time. If I you can't, you've got to it's got to be an exchange of value there. um yeah, I suppose that would be my advice. Just don't overthink it. My approach to putting illustrations out is different to some of your approaches. Like I think I only do 3 posts a week in terms of an illustration, because I try and do this whole I can't do more than that. I can't do a daily illustration. That's just not possible for me. And so that's a bar that I set for myself. So setting those upper bounds for your own personal sanity is very important, and they're going to be different to other people's. But yeah, just having your upper bound and just keep posting. That's what I would advise. And quality over quantity, because a really, really strong visual is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. That's my That's
I
my
love it.
piece.
Yeah, and I love how you focus a lot on the idea of relationship, giving first, not just going there with me, asking, and then once you establish a relationship, as you said in the beginning, with no agenda, things come up naturally. If they come up, if they don't, it's fine because you don't do it for that. Yeah, and definitely each one. I also think that each one should find his or her own pace and do it as long as it feels like a joy. Doesn't have to be like, oh no, I have to write this. Oof. So when you have this feeling, something is not good.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's difficult sometimes to see because maybe you have this feeling of discomfort because it's the first time that you do. So you don't see the difference so clearly between the discomfort of, oh, I'm doing something different today and I'm putting myself out, or the discomfort of, oh, why do I have to do this? It doesn't feel like my thing. So to answer this question, perhaps my idea would be first to do it as fun, to learn in the process. And I love an idea which is that I do it for myself and accidentally, as like this conversation, we are having a wonderful conversation about the thing we love, and
Yeah.
accidentally we are broadcasting into LinkedIn with to some people, and then okay, and so it's a sub product of something that you like. And this is also the one thing that works because it keeps the love for the thing. And another thing which is also brings me to mind that it's almost the time, it was almost an hour,
Yeah.
is to be very respectful of the people's time. And this is also something that Jenny shares in this idea, which is if I have to put something out, has to be respectful. So if I see this in another person, would I like it? Or would I think, okay, this is another one of the copy of the copy of the copy? Why? So, and if it feels authentic to you, even if it's a copy, even if maybe it's the same idea, it's the same quote that you love a quote. I love a lot of quotes from Naval, for example. I could go all along with the quote of Naval because I love it. And I still have the book here. Actually, I have the book. This is the only book that I
Oh
have
yeah.
finished, the Almanac of Naval.
I've
And
got mine over there on the shelf. Yeah.
yeah, so that's for me the idea. And then go on, try, experiment, and as you said, 100% connect with people and reach out. This is
Mhm.
another thing. Don't keep it for yourself. If you like something, as you said in the DM, without any other intention, I reach out to some people who write an article or whatever. I say, oh, I like your article because this and that, and I would love to connect. That's it. And when I receive also these kind of messages from people, they say, "Oh, I love your visual. This is good." Of course, I don't do it for that, but at the same time, everyone wants to be seen, as you said. I feel also seen when I say, "Okay, this person liked what I put out, and something clicked for them. This is good. I had an impact." And this is also something that gives me at least some motivation.
Yeah, and I think that being seen is I've realized I've had all of the boosts that I could possibly get from somebody liking my illustrations. I don't need any likes. Like if you need that validation from the likes, then you're going to be putting yourself in a difficult situation because you don't know when that's going to stop. Like you
Yeah.
it's really dangerous what you get used to seeing the notifications pop up and it's just normal. But something that really stands out to me is something like my friend who lives in France. She went. They went to see their lawyer, and he had your visuals and my visuals up on his wall. Um, that's the impact. That's the impact that matters. It's like making a real difference because somebody they're really really smart person here, and they're finding value in what we've shared. So it's just really, trusting that what you have to say, your situation, your circumstances, and your take on things, that it's just really worth sharing. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the impact for me.
Again, and this connects again to the idea of just doing it and believe that you have something worthy to share. And it's not like you don't have to be whatever. You are yourself. When you share what are yourself, this is unique. No one else has this perspective. So it has some value
And
always.
if you're not confident, then that's how then don't expect to be confident when you start. Like if you're not confident now, cool, you've not done anything, but if you keep going, you'll become confident. It's the same with my course. I was not confident at the start, but you only get there by doing. And so if we sit on ourselves just waiting, procrastinating, and never doing anything. We never give ourselves a chance to see if we, are good at different activities, whether that's making visuals or doing something else.
Yeah. And I think, Hannah, with this call to action, it's a
Yeah.
wonderful way to wrap up the conversation.
Of
I
course,
have
we've run out of
one last question, which is if anyone wants to connect with you or reach out to you, what's the best way to reach?
So I'm focusing on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'm also on Twitter on X. But I was going to say I've got my course. I've got a few more spots left for anybody who wants to come in as a beta tester, and that means that I'm offering a free 30-minute strategy call with me and a discounted price, because I'm really making an effort to get to know those first people that take my course, because it's just getting invested in your story and seeing how I can help and how I can just improve what I'm doing. I need the feedback. I just can't wait to hear from you, basically. So if you're super keen to make illustrations, I can help you out. But if not, just lots of free stuff is going to be put on on social media. I'll just keep publishing.
Amazing. I'm sure they will be very exciting and amazing learning also. I'm sure. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. By the way, if we have some more questions and answer, we will answer them later. So no, don't worry. We will put also all the links of everything in the chat later. And I will also thank you again, Anna, for your time, for finding this. It has been super fun. I learned a lot from you. And I'd love to hear how the course goes.
Thank you. It's been such a privilege. Thank you for inviting me to do this, because it's one of those situations where I probably wouldn't have signed myself up for it. But when you asked me, of course, I wasn't going to say no.
Hey, are you still there?
Yeah.
I think my computer died, so I'm going to stop the live
See, I
because we
didn't
were.
know.
I don't know if we are still live. If we are still live, this is what happens while we are live,
Yeah.
because things happen and my computer just died, and all the USB stuff just went blank. So if there is still someone there, thank you again. And
Enjoy the rest of your day.
it has been so much fun. And I'm going to end the recording.
Okay.
Bye everyone.
Bye.